The year, 1944. The skies over Berlin. Germany's most powerful air commander, Hermann Göring, looks up, and he freezes. Because in that sky, he sees something he never imagined could reach Berlin. He says, "When I saw Mustangs over Berlin, I knew the jig was up." Today, we talk about 6 American fighter planes that didn't just win battles, they wrote the outcome of World War II. Curtiss P-40 Warhawk. This plane was impossible to miss. Its nose was painted to look like the jaws of a shark. That wasn't decoration. That was a warning. December 7th, 1941. Pearl Harbor. Japan's surprise attack. American bases were burning. Chaos, smoke, destruction. That day, while American planes were being destroyed on the ground, only 2 aircraft managed to get airborne and face the Japanese forces. One of them was the P-40 Warhawk. One plane, in the middle of complete chaos, answering back. Then, in China, a group of American volunteer pilots known as the Flying Tigers flew this aircraft and left Japanese commanders stunned by the number of kills they racked up. The engine, Allison V1710, 1,240 horsepower. Speed, 334 miles per hour. 6 Browning machine guns mounted in the wings. 13,738 units were built, making it the 3rd most produced American fighter of World War II. This plane wasn't ahead of its time, but it held the line when no one else was there. Now, the plane that took Japan's most dangerous commander straight out of the sky. And the entire operation was only possible because of a single intelligence leak. Lockheed P-38 Lightning. Its design alone set it apart from everything else. Twin tails, twin engines, one pilot. A shape that still holds its place in aviation history. The P-38 was the only American fighter that remained in continuous large-scale production for the entire duration of World War II. While other designs came and went, the Lightning kept being built. April 18, 1943. American intelligence intercepted a coded Japanese message. The message revealed that Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, Supreme Commander of the Japanese Navy, the architect of the Pearl Harbor attack, was making an inspection tour. Time, route, everything. 16 P-38 Lightnings hit the exact location at the exact moment. Yamamoto's plane went down in the jungle. This wasn't just the death of a general. Yamamoto was the heart of Japan's war strategy. After his death, Japanese naval planning never recovered. Twin Allison V1710 engines, 1,600 horsepower each. Speed, 414 miles per hour. Range, 3,300 miles. 10,037 units were built. And America's ace of aces, Major Richard Bong, the pilot who recorded the most aerial victories of any American in World War II, 40 kills, flew exclusively in the P-38. Only the P-38. Now, a plane that looked heavy, that looked slow, but the day it went after Germany's brand new jet, the world learned that structure matters more than speed. Republic P-47 Thunderbolt. Pilots gave it a nickname, the Jug, because it was exactly that, big, round, and heavy. 8 tons, a massive airframe, 8 Browning machine guns. Over Europe, it destroyed German supply lines, trains, bridges, and entire convoys. But the most shocking moment came when a P-47 pilot shot down a German Me-262 jet. The Me-262, Germany's brand new jet aircraft, was significantly faster than any propeller plane, but the P-47 structure was so solid that it held control even in steep, high-speed dives, where the Me-262 had a wide turning radius. The pilot used the angle, and the jet hit the ground. A propeller plane killed a jet. Pratt & Whitney R2800, 2,000 horsepower. Speed, 426 miles per hour. 8 Browning machine guns. 15,636 units built, the most produced American fighter of World War II. Multiple P-47s returned to base so badly damaged that mechanics looked at them and couldn't understand how the pilot was still alive. The Jug protected American bombers over Europe when nothing else could. Number 3. A plane specifically designed to destroy one enemy. The first they had met that enemy face to face, the result was 19 kills for 1 loss. Grumman F6F Hellcat. This name, this story, needs no introduction. Japan had the Mitsubishi A6M0, a plane so agile and fast that in the early years of the war, American pilots simply couldn't match it. The Zero dominated the Pacific. America made one clear decision: build a plane designed specifically to defeat the Zero. In 1943, the Grumman F6F Hellcat arrived. June 1944, Battle of the Philippine Sea. History knows this battle by another name, the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. In a single day, American Hellcats destroyed over 300 Japanese aircraft. The Hellcats' overall kill ratio, 19-1. 19 enemy planes for every one Hellcat lost. Pratt & Whitney R2800-10W, 2,200 horsepower. Speed, 391 miles per hour. Range, 1,530 miles. 5,163 confirmed aerial kills, more than any other Allied naval aircraft. 12,275 units were built. One pilot, Captain David McCampbell, scored all 34 of his aerial victories exclusively in the Hellcat. America answered the Zero, and that answer was so complete, the Japanese Air Force in the Pacific never stood up again. Now, a plane whose very wing design terrified the enemy on sight. A plane that set a record, that remained unbroken all the way until 1969. Vought F4U Corsair. A silhouette in the sky, with wings bent downward at the center, that was the Corsair. And if you were a Japanese pilot, seeing that shape was the worst moment of your day. Those inverted gull wings were designed to fold on aircraft carrier decks, but they gave this aircraft a look that enemies could identify from a distance, and fear. The first American single-engine fighter to exceed 400 miles per hour. In the Pacific, where Japan ruled the skies, the U.S. Marine Corps fought with this aircraft. Landing it on carriers was difficult at first, so Marines flew it from land bases, and it still became the most lethal fighter in that theater. Kill ratio, 11-1. Pratt & Whitney R2800-18W, 2,380 horsepower. Speed, 446 miles per hour. 12,571 units were built. And then, the fact that surprises everyone, the Corsair recorded air-to-air kills in 1969 against modern aircraft. A World War II-era piston-engine plane, still in the field, decades later. And now, number 1. The plane that made Germany's most powerful air commander put his head in his hands. The plane that established American dominance over Berlin. The plane that wrote the final chapter of World War II. North American P-51 Mustang. American B-17 Flying Fortress bombers were going deep into Germany, hitting factories, supply lines, and strategic targets. But there was a problem. No fighter had the range to escort them. No American aircraft could fly that far into Germany and make it back. So the bombers went alone, and the German Luftwaffe cut them apart on the way. Losses were catastrophic. Crews flew in fear, and the weight of the war was shifting toward the enemy. Then, one decision changed everything. The P-51 Mustang originally had an Allison engine, and it was average. But when the Packard-built Rolls-Royce Merlin V16507 was installed, this plane redefined itself completely in a single day. Now, it was the aircraft that could escort bombers all the way to Berlin and fly back. And the day P-51 Mustangs appeared over Berlin, German Luftwaffe commander Hermann Göring said, "When I saw Mustangs over Berlin, I knew the jig was up." Packard Rolls-Royce Merlin, 1,490 horsepower. Speed, 440 miles per hour. Range, 1,650 miles. Berlin and back. 6 Browning machine guns. Over 15,000 units built. The P-51 alone destroyed 4,950 enemy aircraft, more than half of the total aerial victories scored by the entire U.S. Army Air Forces in Europe. The Luftwaffe's air supremacy, gone, permanently. These were the 6 American fighter planes that didn't just win the skies. One stood its ground at Pearl Harbor when nothing else could. One removed Japan's greatest strategic mind from the war. One proved that strength outlasts speed. One dismantled Japan's air dominance in the Pacific, completely. One kept fighting into 1969 because legends don't retire. And one, over Berlin, decided how the war would end. These weren't just machines. This was American willpower, poured into steel and sent into the sky. Which one of these 6 is your favorite? Or is there a detail you know that deserves to be here? Drop it in the comments. And if you want real, detailed, and authentic history delivered exactly like this, hit subscribe. And don't forget the bell, because the next chapter goes even deeper.